Hello, everybody. My name is Omar. I'm here with Supervisor for District Santa Clara Supervisor District 2, Betty Duong. Betty Duong, it is a pleasure. Thank you for taking my phone call. Thank you for accepting this interview. A lot of politicians, like I was telling you before, they get elected and then they don't want no more interviews. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, Omar, it is my honor and my pleasure to be here with you. And I want to thank you for allowing me to be able to be on the interview with you on your show, to be able to reach your audience. So I will always accept an invitation. I will always take the opportunity to be able to share what we're doing at the county and what we plan to do with you. Thank you.
Thank you. I remember one of the things I asked you in the previous interview, are you going to stay accountable? And you say yes. And this is a way, talking to the people, how you stay
Mhm.
accountable. I know we have 30 minutes, so I'm going to move forward to the interviews. But before we go to some of the questions that I think I want to follow up from previous interview, I
Mhm.
wanted to ask you, what is your opinion about the election results
Mhm.
for is there the Democrats need to learn? Is there election the Democrats need to learn about the election results? Or I would like to hear your opinions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our election system. I remember when I was in law school, and as a young attorney, it was often said both in media and TV and books and also in the classroom that our elections is an expression of our democracy. It's a function of it, from beginning to end, and it is the envy of the world. uh, the way we run our elections here, the way that all of our elected offices, our government entities and operations and organizations are based on the citizens' choice, the people's vote. And I honor that. The election results is what we have today. And it's unfortunate because there was a lot of rhetoric spoken about deporting, about changing immigration policies, about policies that are going to impact a huge portion of my district and the county's community. The immigrant community is part of the fabric of Santa Clara County. And I will continue to honor and uphold the county's mission and heritage and legacy of being an immigrant community. Now, is this something that the Democrats need to learn? Absolutely. Every single election cycle, every single campaign, I think, is a huge learning opportunity. Where did we drop the ball? Where did we interact with people? Where did people feel the most supported or the most heard by our movement, and where did people not? And I think that's going to be hard lessons that we really have to look into and not be afraid of delving into it. And as a Democratic member of the Democratic Party, like where we need to evolve. The landscape continues to change. Our population, our communities, our base continue to change and evolve. And we actually have to grow with the times. And as a local elected, that's something that I do every single day, making sure that I'm engaging with my residents, my constituents, to be able to talk to you, Omar, to be able to share my message with your audience, so that, as you say, they continue holding me accountable so that I don't drop the ball and don't miss the beat as to making sure that I deliver on what our community needs the most.
Uh, do you think you just say that to listen to the people? Do you think the Democratic Party for this Donald Trump winning for this election, do you think the Democratic Party got too distant from its base? That's why they lost elections? Or
No, I'm still thinking about that. I'm still processing that. I would say the answer is yes. I don't know. I don't understand all the how yet, but clearly the results of the election have shown us that yes, we as a party or we as a progressive movement have somehow distanced ourselves, or there's a distance or a gap between us and the American dream, right? I think a lot of the rhetoric, a lot of the language that was used, by the Republican Party or by the current administration. It's that it's those are those are at its heart very progressive values. The ability to have a job, the ability to make a good living, the ability to work hard and build for your family, to protect your family, to provide for your family. the ability to have access to healthcare, to be able to be safe in our homes and in our communities. Those are very core values to us too, as Democrats.
Also, now I want to ask you as the first Vietnamese elected for this position, a woman, yes. And how do you feel? Do you feel that responsibility on your shoulders that you have to create a path for other generation? I mean, do you feel any responsibility there? Are you kind of nervous on this? So tell me something about it, about you.
It's a good nervous energy. It's that excited energy. So yes, nervous, but not bad nervous. I do feel a great sense of responsibility, and I knew that going into this race that and now today I am the first Vietnamese American supervisor representing a district that is equal parts Latino and Vietnamese. So it is an incredible honor that my Latino neighbors and community and families have believed in my leadership and know that I will represent their families and their communities and their needs well here on the Board of Supervisors. But then the great responsibility here is that, as I think in previous interviews with you, Omar, I have mentioned that District 2, out of the 5 districts of the County of Santa Clara, is the poorest district, the most challenged district, the highest need district. It's also the district that is home to Japantown, Little Italy, Little Portugal, East Side, Mayfair, Plata Arroyo. It's home to Little Saigon. It's home to Seven Trees. So all the communities that have really been building the landscape of District 2 for each other and for their families for a very, very long time. Movements started here. The family home of Cesar Chavez is here. The Mexican Heritage Plaza, which marks the launch of the Great Boycott, is here. So we have a rich heritage and a rich history. And part of my responsibility is that my representation is relying on that history. We lean on that history and we fulfill that legacy that we have been building for ourselves for a very long time. And also to be able to really, I think, demonstrate what's always been happening, right? Our communities live side by side. Our kids go to the same schools. We shop at the same places. We eat at the same restaurants. Our communities are connected to each other. And I feel with me being the first Vietnamese American representing District 2, that's a continuation of that integration of our shared experiences and history. So the responsibility here is great. It's to do the absolute best job. It's to be well studied. It's to work as hard as possible. No, like it's really, because I only have at best 12 years to help change the world with you.
Sounds like a lot, but at the end, it's also not too long. It goes fast.
Yeah.
You say there is a really diverse community, right?
Mhm.
Town, Latinos, Vietnamese. Wow, I mean, and a lot of minorities, and also really populated district. The District 2 is really compact and a small area. And housing is a big problem. And since District 2, the geography of District 2 is kind of in the heart of the district or the county, expansion for the district is for housing, because housing is a major problem there. Is how expansion is not that easy to do. Building new property, new houses is not that easy. But at the same time, there's need to be more housing built to accommodate all the families, especially all the new incoming families. So, and I remember the last conversation we had, you mentioned some of the problems. I mean, you mentioned a lot. You told me more than what I have my understanding about housing, because I was looking like 1 or 2 points, and you mentioned like whole umbrella of points, and that was amazing to hear that. But you say one of those points is the bureaucracy, that makes it harder, that makes it expensive, and also takes long time to build and to get the permits.
Right.
and you say some of this problem is to accelerate this bureaucracy. I wonder if you are working on it. I mean, while
Yes.
you're working on it, if you identify some of this bureaucracy we need to accelerate at the same time without affecting nature, without affecting the environment. And also because I read one candidate proposition that the way to make it cheaper to do was to basically jeopardize people's salary. And wonder if your idea to accelerate and make this process cheaper to build doesn't contradict with the environment and the people's salary.
Absolutely. Thank you, Omar, for that question. That's like the fine balance that we always have to make sure that we as public servants and public decision makers are keeping an eye towards, right? The thing is that we can streamline the permitting process. That's something that I'm actively working on, that I'm meeting with our planning department, I'm meeting with our staff to understand the system we have now, because the number one complaint I receive from folks who are trying to either build an ADU in their backyard or trying to build a multi-unit dwelling or trying to develop more housing development, right? Is that it takes so long with the county. And I'm asking my team, I'm asking my county colleagues, like, let's identify which counties have been able to do it faster, right? Let's take lessons learned from what did they implement. A lot of our planning department now does things on paper, right? If we were to transition to a digital process, would that speed things up? So that drafting and redesigning and being able to review the codes or review the plans becomes much more streamlined, much more efficient and effective. So that's one thing right there. Another thing is that how do we get different departments in the same room? Because right now, when you want to build something or open a business, we're talking about any structure or dwelling, right? You have to go from point, you have to go one by one by one by one to each office and each department that gives you the permit for that. Now you go to one office, then you go to the next, and they say, oh, you did that wrong. Now you go back to step one. How do we get everybody in the same room together? Or have like a team huddle where we're able to say, hey, here's all the things you need at the end. Here are all the people that could be your points of contact for that. Here, do you have any questions? Can we, right off the bat, find a way to be more supportive and more customer service oriented? I know that our team at the county wants that. They want to be more service oriented. They want to be able to meet people where they are. And I think our infrastructure right now needs some significant renovations, pun intended, to be able to meet those needs, because the world is building faster than the county is administering, and we have to catch up with that. Now, streamlining bureaucracies does not mean lower wages, right? If anything, you now, developer, have the opportunity to meet better standards, to provide more for your staff, because you're not going to waste time. You're not gonna lose we've just shortened, if we just shorten your construction time and your permitting time by a year, right? That's more resources for you to be able to make sure all of your staff, all of your workers, all the wages, prevailing wages, safety compliance are all in order.
One of the problems that sometimes people who you mentioned building like in your house, expanding your house so you can have more room, it has a pros and a con, right? Building and but at the same time, if you're building in your neighborhood, then we have problem with density,
Parking.
parking,
Yeah.
and lack of services, and
Mhm.
how just, I mean, I know the city and the county are totally different, but how can you work on that to prevent the density of our neighborhood?
Yeah.
Because building an extra room is good, and I talk to a lot of neighbors, and I say that's an easy way out for the city and the county to create more housing, because it creates a problem with density. How do you manage that? How do you prevent the
Yeah.
density?
I think how we manage that is that, it's our perspective. So I just want to pull back a little bit, Omar, to your question. And the thing is that there's no one solution to fix affordable housing. Um, for anybody to rely on the proliferation of ADUs and more add-ons, right? That's not how we get out of this housing crisis. That's not. It's going to be all the above strategy. It's streamlining permits for home expansions. It's streamlining the bureaucracy that allows for construction of dwellings. It's streamlining the coding and permitting process for when we are, when we are building, expanding BART and light rail, allowing for the units along the tracks to build upwards and higher density to have walkable communities. It's going to be allowing for more rehabilitation of existing homes. I walked and knocked on 37,000 doors during the campaign, and there were a lot of apartment buildings that I went to that I, they're pretty old. They're pretty old. They're kind of falling apart. Their stairway creaked. I thought I was going to fall off one of the balconies. So we have a lot of opportunities for rehabbing existing homes that people may not want to live in now or have no choice to, but to turn into something beautiful and something safer and maybe smarter design that actually allows for more capacity. But the thing is that we have to add more to the supply. There's a lot of situations now where adult children who did everything right, they got good grades in high school, they went to college, they got their degrees, they're ready and willing to find a good job and work, right? And the thing is that they have not been able to find work or wages that allows them to rent their own home or buy their own home. That's because wages have stayed low, historically depressed, while the price of housing has gone dramatically up and it's not leveling out. So we have to increase the supply. So for adding on ADUs, that's, yes, you're right, Omar. It's an easy fix. It's a temporary fix. It's not the ideal fix. It's just one of many solutions to make sure that people have housing right now.
I told my wife, she got me when she say all this. Hey, this is not only one solution, because I focus on one problem.
Yeah.
You say that's not only one solution. This is about, and then okay, now once you have all the solutions, and
we have to constantly look for more solutions, right?
Yeah.
We have to look for as many opportunities as possible. And all the empty commercial buildings, can those be converted into units? Where can we expand more housing supply without impacting neighborhoods and communities? That's always going to be the constant balance. But I know for myself, but if I have a family member who's living in an ADU extension, right? I would assume I would understand, like, if they have the opportunity to be able to buy their own home, they would want to do that. So that's more of like an immediate fix to make sure people have housing, but we have to do our job to streamline the bureaucracy to add more and be creative about it. Like I said, commercial properties that are completely empty and have been empty for years, they already have the infrastructure. Is there an opportunity there to renovate them into living units, into residential dwellings?
Yeah. After this question, perhaps we move to what you have done right now. What have you done in these few days? But I want to explore this new idea that I heard. I think it's Liz Gonzalez and Delma Hernandez and other people working on it. I think it's Land Trust Community Service, something like that. The idea have you heard about them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited about that. The idea of land trust, community co-ops, residential co-ops, those are additional solutions, and that I find very appealing, something that I really want to dive into and support.
Because a lot of what these corporate landlords, what they do, they have this access to money, access to cut taxes, subsidized for this, or like they build an affordable apartment building. 20 years later, as a 20 years contract, they own the building, they own the land with subsidized money from the county, the state, the city. But I wonder if the county and you and your position, maybe you can bring this view to more other offices like the city, help the land trust to get the same benefits corporate landlords get. So because what they're doing is they're trying to get tenants buy their own apartments. And that's a good solution. I don't know if you aware of that, or what do you think that would be a good solution or not? I mean, that I'm exploring this idea because also new for me too.
I think it's a great idea that it's worthy of exploring. It allows, with land trust and also co-op developments, it allows for the tenants to be the owners of their own home for that opportunity in the long term. But before they become owners of their own home, being a tenant association, being the co-op, right? It's shared ownership amongst the tenants. And what that does is it gives people agency. It gives them control over their own lives, agency over their own direction and the growth of their families. And it gives them, for me, what's most important, housing stability, housing security. They're not going to worry about, because they will not be raising their own rent, on themselves at an astronomical level. But whatever we can do to support that's something that I really am interested in diving into. And I just want to give a shout out to Council Member Peter Ortiz at the City of San Jose, and also for the City of San Jose staff and administration, that they've really taken the lead on this in our region. And we have an opportunity here to partner with the city, to learn from the city, and to also share our experiences with the city.
Awesome, nice. Yeah, Peter Ortiz is amazing council member. Now, one, it happens the supervisor, Cindy Chavez, went to Albuquerque, got a new job and resigns to her position. And before January 20, you became the new supervisor with some extra month and I'm pretty sure you have some days that you've been working on it. Tell us something that you've been working on it, your office is focusing on it, or what have you done, your office have you done so far for these few days?
Well, thank you so much. So I was sworn in to take Cindy's place. She had 1 month left in her term before she left. So I get to sit in her seat and be in her role for that 1 month term before my term officially starts on January 6th. But during that time, I've been able to sit for 2 Board of Supervisors meetings, and I am so honored. I'm sorry that this had to happen, but I was very proud to be there. On December 3rd, when I was sworn in, the first vote that I was able to take was to vote in support of the county's position to defy Trump, to stand up to the Trump administration. I was able to be part of the meeting and be able to vote as a supervisor, as the newly elected supervisor and newly appointed supervisor, to allocate funding $5 million to understand what is to strengthen our infrastructure, our services, and our partnerships with community to make sure that we have the right protections for our immigrant communities here in Santa Clara County. And that's going to be an investment in expanded legal services, expanded rapid response network, expanded social services for families that are maybe undocumented or mixed status families, and we want to make sure that we protect them. So that's something that I was very honored to be a part of. That was and forevermore, that's gonna be my first vote. The first vote I ever took as a supervisor was to stand up to Trump, support our county administration and our board of supervisors and our staff to strengthen protections for our immigrant populations. But while we do that, we can't lose focus. A lot of work has been done over the years to work towards co-op developments, to work towards land trust, to work towards helping to carve out a pathway to citizenship, to work towards making sure we have the right support wraparound and support services for our most vulnerable families. So my mission is to make sure that work doesn't lose any steam as we continue to fight this new fight in defending our communities.
Nice. Thank you. And congratulations for, it's kind of too late right now, but I congratulate
no.
you.
So the swearing in on December 3rd was an appointment to fill in the vacancy that was left by Supervisor Chavez. But my official term starts this year. The official term that I was elected by you and your neighbors and your audience to serve starts later this month. And you asked what we've been working. We've been working on a really big party. My swearing in celebration is on January 10th at 5 p.m. at the Mexican Heritage Plaza. And Omar, I'd be honored if you can join me for that celebration. And I hope that everybody watching, please know that my invitation extends to you as well. My spring celebration will be in community at the Mexican Heritage Plaza, January 10th at 5 p.m. The program will start officially at 6 p.m., but at 5 p.m., come by, we'll have refreshments, we'll have music, we'll have performances, and this is really meant to be a celebration of our district.
You say Mexican Heritage Plaza, right?
Yes.
What the next steps that you're gonna be focusing on, you're gonna be working on, or we're gonna see that you perhaps pushing on housing, and we have only like 4 minutes.
My work in housing and securing affordable housing and addressing homelessness will be the next 12 years, every single day. So I'm meeting with a lot of my staff, a lot of the county executives and leaders here to understand where we are right now. And when it comes to affordable housing, I just want to also highlight that what we're walking into is a history, a very recent history of a lot of production. So in 2016, the county launched Measure A. We talked about that last time. I was the campaign manager for the 2016 Measure A housing bond measure. Since 2016, we have more than 6,500 new units of housing completed or currently under construction. Those projects are being built in 10 different cities. And so far we have housed 15,000 people. So 15,000 people are now off the streets or never made it to street unhoused, being unhoused on the streets because of Measure A. And $25 million of our Measure A funds have been committed to a first-time home buyer assistance program, where if you're buying a home for the first time and you are working class families, there's a whole income ratio that qualifies you for this program. It allows you to participate in this program where Measure A will provide you with 30% of your purchasing price. That's the loan, and you don't pay back that loan until you sell that home or until 30 years, the term of the loan.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah. So we're going to be working more on that. So that's what we've already done. And so building off of that foundation, my ask to my colleagues in administration is, how do we do more? So all that is happening. So housing and homelessness, my top concern, public safety. We have a lot of votes coming in this budget cycle. And the thing is that the county is facing a budget deficit. But I believe that we cannot balance the budget on the backs of public safety. Public safety needs to be our core value alongside our health and hospital system to make sure that communities remain safe. So that's gonna be my next work in terms of understanding the budget and being very creatively and approaching our budget to make sure that no cuts happen to our public safety work. If anything, we need more investments to make sure we have community programs. A lot of the community programs have already been taken away, and I just don't want them to be taken more. So the neighborhood safety unit, the community prosecution unit, it's all those programs that really sends attorneys and lawyers and mediators and community workers into community to ensure safety through investment in community. So more to that, more in that coming soon.
I think your last word answered my question that I had for you in 1 minute, because some of the politicians that I was following on debates, when they talk about public safety, they always say more police on the street, more police on the street, and that doesn't always necessarily means more safety, right? More police.
Yeah.
And I think you say investing in the communities, and I wonder if you can chime it down on 1 minute on a little bit investing in the community. What
that looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah, it means that, for example, with the NSU at the county, we send probation officers and program managers into community to hear our neighbors' needs. Like, how do we make this more joyful? How do we give more cohesion or support more cohesion in your neighborhood, right? Because when neighbors know each other, when neighbors feel safe gathering with each other, when they're organizing together, they naturally create safer communities. And that's the type of investments that I'm looking for, where we can build out soccer fields, or where we can add basketball courts, where we can bring recreation, where we can bring movie nights. That's the type of relationship that I'm looking for in the name of public safety, where how do we be a good neighbor to you and create safe spaces for family gatherings and community gatherings. And also how to meet your needs. Like, for example, at the Valley Palms apartments, one of the requests was homework, tutoring support for the kids there, right? So a place for them to go do their homework after school while their parents are still at work, a place for them to have support, right? While their parents are trying to to keep the family going. And so we've invested in programming there, and I want to see more of that happening beyond beyond Valley Palms, but into other parts of our community too.
Thank you, Supervisor Betty Jan. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope we can do this again and maybe next time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I need to have. I'm going to have much more to report back on in the coming months. So please, anytime, Omar.
And I think next time we need to talk also about public transportation. That's something that I kind of focus a lot on.
Yeah, we're gonna need to do that. A lot of things are happening. So as a preview for the next interview,
Okay.
VTA and BART, they have 3 major projects and more. There's more projects. The top 3 projects happening in this district is the light rail connector running from Milpitas BART to the Eastridge transit hub. That's going to go down all the way of Capitol Expressway. So we're under construction right now, ripping up roads. So that's happening right now, running through the heart of District 2. There is a plan to bring BART through downtown, through Santa Clara. So that's going to be another major, major project that's going to connect us to the rest of the Bay Area. And that runs right through District 2. And then the Darridon station, where Caltrain is now, that's going to be mass expansion there to connect BART, Caltrain, VTA. And so it's going to be a major transit hub. Again, all happening in our district. So I would love to be able to talk to you about that next time.
Awesome. I know we already passed 2 minutes. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, Omar. Happy New Year. Hope to see you on January 10th.
Happy New Year too.